It is Wednesday, May 13. Welcome to CGN News. 5 bodies were found in 2 shallow graves in the Washington Gardens area in St. Andrew, Jamaica. Police on the scene reported that the bodies, wrapped in plastic, appeared to be in an advanced state of decomposition. Last evening, cadaver dogs and detectives from the Scene of Crime unit were still combing the area. Investigators were seeking to determine whether the bodies are of men reported missing from Clarendon over a month ago. However, Assistant Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey said they are waiting on the outcome of the post-mortems to further guide the probe. Grappling with the effects of COVID-19 is going to cost Trinidad and Tobago a pretty penny. Finance Minister Combe Imbert says the country has already spent close to $1 billion in its efforts to combat the virus. The country is expected to spend a total of $6 billion. Imbert said projections up to 2023 have been forecasted, and the ministry is satisfied that there is more than adequate financing available. Following a review of the recount process, the Guyana Elections Commission's GCOM yesterday approached the National COVID-19 Task Force for advice on increasing both the number of workstations and the number of working hours for the national recount. Currently, the recount is being executed at 10 workstations at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. The entire process was proposed to be completed within 25 days, but so far there has been an average of less than 50 ballot boxes recounted each day. At that rate, the Commission would need twice as many days to process the 2,339 boxes generated at the March 2, 2020 elections. International news now. A top World Health official Monday warned that countries are essentially driving blind in reopening their economies without setting up strong contact tracing to beat flare-ups of the coronavirus. The warning came as France and Belgium emerged from lockdowns. The Netherlands sent children back to school, and many U.S. states pressed ahead with the lifting of business restrictions. Authorities have cautioned that the scourge could come back with a vengeance without widespread testing and tracing of infected people's contacts with others. There are reported infections in Germany where new clusters were linked to 3 slaughterhouses, in Wuhan, the Chinese city where the crisis started, and in South Korea where a single nightclub customer was linked to 85 new cases. The World Health Organization's emergencies chief, Dr. Michael Ryan, said robust contact tracing measures adopted by Germany and South Korea provide hope that those countries can detect and stop virus clusters before they get out of control. Worldwide, the virus has infected a confirmed 4.1 million people and killed more than 280,000. Saudi Arabia announced Monday it was tripling taxes on basic goods, raising them to 15% and cutting spending on major projects by around $26 billion as it grapples with blows from the coronavirus pandemic and low oil prices on its economy. Saudi citizens will also lose a bonus cost of living allowance that had been in place since 2018, according to the country's finance minister. Despite efforts to diversify the economy, the kingdom continues to rely heavily on oil for revenue. Brent crude now hovers around $30 a barrel, far below the range of Saudi Arabia needs to balance its budget. The kingdom has also lost revenue from the suspension of Muslim pilgrimages to the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, which were closed to visitors due to the virus. The new measures are the most drastic yet by a major Gulf Arab oil producer, since oil prices plunged by more than half in March, signaling that neighboring countries may also seek to impose higher taxes on residents this year. China suspended punitive tariffs on more U.S. goods, including radar equipment for aviation, Tuesday, amid pressure from President Donald Trump to buy more imports as part of a truce in their trade war. The Ministry of Finance said tariff increases on 79 types of goods, including radar sets, disinfectant, and rare earth minerals, would be suspended for 1 year starting May 19. Washington agreed in January to cancel additional tariff hikes, and Beijing committed to buy more American farm products. Trump threatened May 3 to terminate the agreement if China fails to buy more American goods. China resumed purchases of American soybeans but has yet to confirm the size of its commitment. The two sides have raised duties on tens of billions of dollars of each other's imports in a dispute over China's technology ambitions and trade surplus. The number of people who were killed in a militant attack on a maternity ward in the Afghan capital of Kabul has risen to 24. Mothers, newborn babies and nurses were among the victims. At least 16 people were injured, the health ministry said. Afghan special forces rescued 100 women and children, including 3 foreigners. The 3 attackers who reportedly had gained access dressed as police officers were all killed by security personnel after a battle lasting hours. Images from the scene showed soldiers carrying newborn babies swaddled in blood-stained blankets to safety. It is not clear who carried out the attack at the Dashti-Barchi hospital in Kabul, and the Taliban have denied any involvement. That's it for CGN News. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott Wilson.
That was your news for today. You're listening to Moving Forward. Welcome to our edition here. It's Wednesday. We go from 7 to 9. I'm your host, Erwin Clare. I want to take time to say good evening to our listeners and to thank DJ Roy for his presentation just now, and to once again, say how appreciative we are of the work of our frontline workers. We cannot say enough about that. And once again, welcome all our listeners and those who are viewing us on Irie Jam 360. Facebook Live, and those who listen to us on 93.5 in your cars, at home, and on the internet. We say good evening to you. Well, uncertain times calls for trusted facts. In these times, of course, in order for us to survive what we're going through, we must be trustful and have confidence in our leaders. Well, we have one such leader with us online, and I must apologize for keeping him on hold this long, but his commitment to the community is without question. We had an occasion to have him here whilst he was running for this office, right here in Irie Jam 360. We want to welcome him back in his new capacity as the public advocate for New York City. We like to call him Brother Jomani Williams. Good evening, Mr. Williams.
Good evening, good evening. How are you?
I am quite well, and I trust you and your family are well, sir.
Well, praise God, my immediate family is doing well, and I'm thankful for that. So not everybody can say that.
Yes, I understand. I know that a man from Spice Island like yourself, you're using a lot of nutmeg these times to fight off all this COVID, right?
It's actually a little difficult for me to hear you.
I said, in these times, hailing from that beautiful isle, Spice Island, you're using your nutmeg to fight off the COVID-19.
Oh, yeah. Spice in the blood, definitely.
There you go. Mr. Public Advocate, I know you're pressed for time, and so we are, and we're going to jump right into it. The new procedures as relates to social, physical distancing, of course, is of critical importance in this fight against COVID-19. Many of our nationals are abiding by the rules and regulations, but as you know, sir, from time to time we will have challenges. We have seen in the past where in Brooklyn, where folks from the Hasidic community having their funerals, and the amount of people that came out and broke the rules, there were arrests. The police was quite cordial in their transactions. But then there are also reports too that when situations occur in our community where such rules may be violated, there are challenges with the relationship with ourselves and the police. Now, why do I put that in context? I put that in context because as it gets warmer, more people will be outside. This will increase the challenges, the opportunities for these type of situations. In your office as public advocate, are there any plans as far as sensitizing further the police, one, but also to communities as to these type of expectations and how we respond?
Thank you for putting that in context. One of the first problems is that our leaders failed from the beginning, and we never really had a clear message. And so that has been problematic as to driving the message home because everybody wasn't on the same page. And while we're using words like quarantine and lockdown and opening up, that's not the messaging that we got from either the governor or the mayor from early on. In fact, The governor didn't even want to call it shelter in place. He wanted to call it pause because he didn't want to scare people. So there's a lot of mixed messaging going on. But we're starting to get past that. And then two, virus doesn't discriminate. We're clear on that. And we've said that time and time again. But our policies, they do discriminate. And so we've seen a disproportionate impact on Black and brown communities, because what this is doing is highlighting existing infrastructural problems and gaps in leadership. And, we had hoped that this mayor was different, but I got to tell you, the more the mayor speaks, and this today in particular, and the commissioner, they sound more like Bloomberg and Ray Kelly or Rudy Giuliani, and that's actually a bit concerning. And we sent a plan about 7 weeks ago to the mayor saying that we cannot count on summonses and arrests as a focal point because it's going to cause problems due to historic nature. That plan was rejected, which was unfortunate. We also then started calling for the data, the social distances, and what we saw was even worse than I imagined. And we still don't even have all the data. And so 82% of the people getting summonses were Black and brown, 51% were Black. From the arrest records we have, 92% were Black and brown, 68% were Black. In Brooklyn, out of 40 arrests, 35 were Black and 4 were Hispanic. And we are still trying to convince the mayor and the commissioner how bad a problem this is. And so you had a mayor trying to explain to us that, most interactions go well, which is just true. 95% of police interactions go well, but frequency can't be about normalcy. So it is still normal for that small percentage that goes wrong too often to be in the Black and brown community. And then we had a commissioner say that if we want to talk about disparity, we should talk about the murder rates. And so we seem to be going in a terribly wrong direction at a time where it's getting warm, with a community that's been ignored historically, definitely been ignored when it comes to COVID. They're out of work and have been home for the past 2 months. And so what we're saying is either you have to implement our program, or minimally you have to police equitably. Because as you mentioned, there are certain communities that nothing happens, literally, and other communities where people are punched in the face and sold to the ground. Also, to the point of your conversation, we have to be held responsible for our own actions as well. And so we have to adapt to this new normal, not just for ourselves, but for our families, our friends, our community. We have to socially distance. If we have masks, we have to wear it. It's a scarf, it's a bandana, and we have to stay home when we to the best of our ability. But and most New Yorkers are doing that, so thank you. But there's a small subset in every community that is not, and that's the people we have to worry about. But you can't hand out masks in one community and punch people in the face in the other.
Correct. It brings to as well opportunities, public advocate, for some kind of outreach to even community-based organizations to probably bring them up to speed, because with this type of new norm that we now have, I should say ever-changing norm, that it is a learn as you go in many situations, and I the challenges that we have had in the past. The problem we have with COVID-19 now, I think, will just enlighten those some more. But let me switch to something else, sir. The other frightening statistics that we have seen as well is the rate at which COVID mortality amongst African American community, to which a whole lot of Caribbean people are part of that number, have shown that we are being affected more so, sometimes three times more so than other races. And the challenge now, sir, is the fact that, as you are also aware, many people in the Caribbean community will find themselves as essential workers, and probably there's even a disproportionate amount of us in the essential workforce. Are there any studies or any kind of mitigations will be done to look further into those numbers as to, the exposure of our community and why we have this disproportionate mortality rate? And I hear when it was first announced, there was a lot of excitement about what will be done to mitigate, but nothing since then. What is, if any, can your office do to make sure that the attention is given to this, sir?
So just to be clear, the reason that it happened is not only because of the federal government and the President of the United States of America, who's just, of course, a racist. We didn't expect much different. But locally, our mayor, Bill de Blasio, and especially our governor, who has asked for and received unprecedented executive power, literally failed almost at every turn. And so they refused to respond to the problems that people were asking about. So I know many people, supporting the governor because they see him on TV every day, but he has failed miserably in between those press conferences. And so our leaders moved too slow. They weren't bold enough, and they didn't adapt to the data as it came. So I was the first agency to just shut down and send folks home at a time where the mayor and the governor were arguing about whether they should shelter in place, when the governor was saying, we're going to turn the dial on workers 25%, 50%, 75%. He spent days considering a name, and then another day, a few days, putting it into place. All of those we said had human costs, and then we're seeing that. And then on top of that, so I do give them credit for pushing the federal government to give more resources. But once that happened here, where they put the resources were just remarkably ineffective and created disparity. So they created two tiers of New Yorkers. One tier, they said, you guys stay home and telecommute. And those who could did. Those who couldn't, maybe they went to the Hamptons. In the Hamptons, the price of a rent went up because so many people moved out there. And then we told the rest of New Yorkers that you're going to be expendable now. We're going to reassign you the title essential workers, and you can't stay home. You must go out. 75% of essential workers are black and brown. Not only must you go out, we're not going to give you any PPEs, any personal protective equipment when you go out for the first 4 weeks. Not only that we have to go out and we're not going to give you PPEs, we're not going to test your communities. So that 2/3 of the top 30 zip codes a few weeks ago were white and wealthier where testing had happened, even though people who were black and brown were testing at a higher rate. The governor and the mayor just discovered NYCHA maybe 3 weeks ago. We've been undercounting for some time who was dying because we told people not to go to hospitals and people were dying in their homes. And so now we're starting to raise these issues, but we have a governor that won't even admit that this was an error to begin with. We are sitting on the worst response rate on planet Earth, and that's really due to the terrible leadership of the governor and the mayor. So many of us are trying to sound this alarm so that we can have accountability and change as we move forward, because this thing is not over.
But public advocate a few moments ago, we recognize that, but then the same criticism could be made of many of our local elected officials who occupy spots. We don't get the feel that they are also actively pursuing and ensuring that those districts they represent are getting the testing, are getting the resources that others are getting. Because I understand, yes, you are counteracting some of the things that the governor and the mayor are doing, but we still don't feel the effect. Public advocate, and I can only see this escalating as it gets to the warmer weather. I mean, our children are not going to school. It's not all our children are getting the same type of education that we think they are getting. And it's not everyone can find rooms in their houses to quarantine or to stay away. Many people still have to find ways to go out there and work. So we want to encourage you, sir, to continue your advocacy on behalf of our community.
Well, I appreciate that. I am. Not every elected official is created equal, but I will say that there are elected officials that have been on the ground and have been really pushing. But, the people who can make the biggest difference here are the executives. And on each level in New York, we had 3 white men making decisions. And when you look at these press conferences, very rarely did you see any diversity around them.
Well,
the city, state, federal level, those
true.
are the people who can make the decisions that can help these communities. And so while many of us were on the ground doing our best to push and elevate, and they're finally starting to make some better decisions, we don't have the luxury of time. So we can't make up for that lost time.
All right.
And as you are correct, as we're going into the warmer weather, you're going to have a bunch of folks who've been home for 2 months and trying to deal with their kids not working, that's going to be bent up coming outside, and then you're going to have a police officer who themselves are not wearing a mask trying to arrest you for not wearing a mask.
That's right.
That is a recipe for disaster.
That's right.
Nowhere around.
Yeah,
and
last
we're
but not
working now and pleading with the mayor and the governor, by the way, who told municipalities to make enforcement the top thing. We're pleading with them.
All right. Now, listen, sir. Of course, whilst all of this is going, the census is important. With a minute to go, sir, share with our community the importance of the census, because God knows the numbers right now is poor, is disappointing. We need to step up our game. Talk to us about that quickly, sir.
It's terrible. It seemed to be going in a decent direction before COVID, and it just tanked. And it should be the opposite direction, because I know folks are home and we can do this. It takes literally less than 10 minutes. I need people to really understand, those who are into politics, we can lose 2 congressional seats.
Yes.
And we lost some seats in the last one because of undercounting. We're not getting the representation we need. But if you're not even into politics, or I should say you think you're not into politics, there are things that you should understand. People saw Elmhurst Hospital overrun because they didn't have the equipment and the resources they need. Those hospital beds are based on how many people live in a city when they do the census count. So if you don't fill out your census, you may not have a hospital bed. The same thing with school seats. When you go to put your child or your nephew or your godson or your goddaughter to school, those seats won't be there. When you're looking for assistance with housing, those are all based on number of people who are there. And so it's frustrating when people want this type of assistance that they deserve, but will not fill out the census. And I understand people are wary of government. Very rarely when government comes to our community, good things are happening. But they're
protected. They're protected. Yes, it's true.
So this is different.
Yes.
We assure you that your data is safe. No one's coming after you. If you have 5 people who shouldn't be on your lease, your landlord won't know, NYCHA won't know, ICE won't know. There's no citizenship question. We have to make sure everybody, whether they live on your bathtub or your sofa, is counted. I filled mine out on the first possible moment I could on live TV.
And by the way, public advocate, I also hope that you indicated that you were Caribbean. You indicated you're Caribbean ancestry too.
Of course.
Okay, very good.
This is the first time people can put down Grenadian American, put down Caribbean American, put down Jamaican American. So we're proud of that. You can check black, and you can put Jamaican American. You can put Caribbean American. You can put Haitian American. So this is the first time that you have that ability. So go up and make yourself get counted. This is really, I can't overestimate how important this is, and I don't think people understand how important this 5 minutes. I got all 3 people in my household counted in less than 5 minutes on live TV.
So check this out now. So check this out now. The competition is on to see how many Grenadians we are and how many Jamaicans we are. Okay, that's a competition.
Oh yeah.
And if I have more, you buy me a red stripe beer. The other way around, I buy you a red stripe beer. If there are more Grenadians.
I'm with it.
All right?
Let's do it.
All right. Public advocate, thank you very much. We have to have you back on again, sir. Of course, there's never enough time on radio, but we appreciate the time that you've taken out to talk to us, and we appreciate it. All the best to you, sir.
Thank you.
All the best. That was, of course, our public advocate, Jemani Williams, talking to us about some very pressing issues here as it relates to COVID. It is impacting our community and the collateral damage. Yeah, the collateral damage. We're over time, but we have a guest who's been holding on for a few moments. We must apologize to her. We're going to go to her quickly to see if we can, get back on track. We welcome now Senior Communications Manager of Grace Kennedy Financial Group, Mrs. Yolande Giles Levy. I want to talk a bit about the whole situation in Western Union and its the things that we've seen making the rounds recently as it relates to how distribution of funds are taking place. We have some concerns here, and we just wanted to clear some issues for us. Good evening, Mrs. Giles Levy.
Good evening, Erwin. How are you?
I'm quite well, and first let me apologize for holding you so long, but we had our public advocate, we had to get some things in to him and get some information from him. Yes.
That's no problem. It was a very interesting discussion.
Thank you.
I can, echoing some of the sentiments of my family in New York. So
okay, great.
I enjoyed the discussion.
Great. And I trust you and your family are well, and please keep safe.
We are, and thanks for asking. Everybody is fine.
All right. No, quickly. And again, this is just a situation. Grace Kennedy is one of our corporate partners here in the diaspora, as it relates to its product, Western Union. So this is family now, and I'm just responding to some things we see, and I share with you quickly why I got nervous, because you see I really want to come back to Jamaica really bad. So I'm hoping and praying that everybody follow the rules and regulations. So when we see anybody kind of divert, step out of the line, I get nervous. That means is a longer time before I can get back. The concerns here is this: COVID-19 has really lifted up the scar of some underlying challenges we have in Jamaica, and that is how we move monies to our people. Removing that whole physical aspect of it, we now see where it is very challenging. Would you say, without going into all the details, yes, we know that we see all the long lines of people rushing for the care packages and all that. Would you say that we now have a good opportunity here, Mrs. Jazz Levy, to make that switch to getting more people in the paperless mode of operation?
We do have a wonderful opportunity to get people into cashless ways of doing business, into cashless ways of receiving money and sending money.
Yes.
However, Erwin, you pointed out that COVID-19 has highlighted some challenges that we have in our Jamaican society. And a key challenge COVID-19 has highlighted is that too many of our Jamaican people, for several reasons, refuse to join the formal banking system. Now, as we are finding out, a lot of persons don't have IDs. A basic thing like an ID, and I can understand there is a cost implication when you have to get a passport. It's not free, you have to pay for it.
Yes.
If you have to get a driver's license, it's not free, you have to pay for it. However, the voter's ID is free.
Yes.
There is no cost associated, but we realize we're now finding out that not even that free, and you don't having a voter's ID does not mean you have to vote. You just have the ID and you're on the voters list in case you want to exercise your franchise to vote. So, but we're realizing a lot of persons don't have that.
Right,
That's a basic way to start.
Yeah.
Also, a TRN, if you did not have a taxpayer registration number, you could not have applied for the care funds to begin with. And you need an ID, basic, you need an ID and a TRN at the very least to start a bank account.
Right.
You also, and there's several reasons. A lot of Jamaicans them can't bother with the banking and bank expensive and all of those are legitimate concerns.
Yes, I was about to say that. Yes.
Right, they're legitimate concerns. But at a time like this, I think for all of them, people realize that, boy, maybe life would have been easier if I had a bank account.
Right. And let's stay with that bank account a little bit, all right? Because I think also, too, the system itself creates that havoc, too. Because the access to a bank account and open a bank account is an onerous process. And I know that a lot of changes have been made. But trust me now, me leaving America, come to Jamaica for open a bank account, I don't know no notary public. I don't know justice of the peace. I basically have to bring sufficient document. The amount of documents I bring would be like tantamount to buying a house. So those kind of situations have to be looked at going forward.
And I will say this, of course, and our group CEO, Senator Don Webby, he made a very impassioned plea in the Parliament 2 weeks ago to have asked the government to look at these regulations for opening bank accounts. Because if you can remove some of the burden, so if you are expecting no more than $100,000, 100,000 Jamaican dollars, that's not even 1,000 US. If you know that the most you will ever have in this account is $100,000, it should not be the same level of requirements as somebody who is getting 250. You understand? So he made that plea, and in line with that plea now, First Global Bank, the bank from Grace Kennedy, we have decided to go in and assist So only for care compassionate grant recipients, they have the opportunity to use the very same things that they're using to collect their care funds to open a bank account. FGB is right there at the locations, helping them on a very simple account opening form, not the regular 4 and 5 and 6 pages, and no need for the JP and all of that. Letter from somebody who is a member of the bank and all the things that normally would attend opening a bank. FGB has gone ahead and said we will relax those requirements for care compassionate grants, which will mean that going forward, if the government should disburse funds again,
it will be a smooth operation.
Can just give them, just say send it to
right
the
to
bank
their account,
and that's fine.
Let me ask you this now. Come back to Western Union now.
Yes.
The whole situation of Western Union, their products, Garfield Comrie does a good job on this here, on radio here and all that. But but you need to spend some more money though, all right? But anyway, what I mean is that he needs a bigger budget. He needs a bigger budget. But anyway, but the point here is that I think that the methodology to convincing people at home is really getting a stronger message to people here, the senders, because you see, it is our family who will be affected if the COVID situation gets out of hand. And if we're sending them money to go into an environment where it is COVID, where a whopper COVID situation is, then we are creating, we're part of the challenge. So I'm just saying here, and this is again, we're speaking as family here, is that I think a stronger, I'm not saying it's not strong right now, a stronger message and investment should take place from the diaspora side to impress on our family members in Jamaica that this is the order of business. And people listening to me right now, it's about our life, it's about our community, it's about how your family members are treated in a civic manner, because we should never let what happened in Westmoreland happen again. It never looked good. It never looked good for nobody. And we are totally exposed there. But Miss Yolande, guys, I just want to say thank you very much for the service. Go ahead.
No.
Well, you have a few moments to go.
Okay, so let me do this. Thank you to the members of the diaspora, our family in the diaspora who continue to send. We are very grateful. The money continues to be used and received in a grateful fashion. And let me just point out as well, you will not see those images that you saw circulating on social media outside our locations. We have put in all the steps, but guess what? Things got overwhelming as Jamaicans chose Western Union. We never campaigned and asked anybody to choose our remittance company. We were the overwhelming choice for those who selected where they want their GOJ care funds to go, which also tells the diaspora another thing. Jamaican people believe the verb for remittance is Western Union. So you know where you need to be sending your money when you're coming back home. And encourage your family, please register for direct to bank. It's simple. We have an online registration now. So go on tell them go on gkmsonline.com and register for direct to bank.
All right. And I can endorse that. I use it and it works well. Mrs. Yolande, guys, thank you very much. We are sorry that we had to rush here, but we are pressed for time. But the information given is pertinent, and of course, we'll continue the dialogue here, right here on Irie Jam 360.
Sure.
All the best to
and
you.
You can
Please
invite
stay
me back anytime.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We'll see. And like I said, increase the budget for Garfield. So have a good evening. All right.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Moving Forward. This is Erwin Clare. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue the dialogue.
Zaga. For those who are stuck in the past, stay in the past because you're a time traveler. This is Irie Jam. We are moving forward towards success, towards the future, towards having an understanding of what the people need in this time when it comes to music. This is Beenie Man, the king of the dancehall, representing for Irie Jam. Moving Forward campaign. Campaign with us. Zaga.
Supporting you through COVID-19 is our top priority. JN Money is committed to protecting you and will continue to provide consistent and quality service during this global health crisis. To protect you, JN Money has temporarily revised its opening hours and has closed some locations to ensure your safety. Our JN Money online service has been restored. Therefore, we encourage customers to send money safely and conveniently using this medium where possible. Visit jnmoneyonline.com or follow us on Instagram and Facebook account for updates and information on COVID-19. With fast, safe, and convenient services, JN Money will help you find a way.
Void where prohibited. Limited to persons 18 years and older. JN Money Services USA Inc. A licensed money transmitter in the states of Connecticut, District of Columbia, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York.
Jamaicans are the most vibrant and brilliant people, hands down. We are the best.
We make our country proud everywhere we go.
Wearing our black, green, and gold with pride.
And now, we're all bravely
Rising to the occasion again.
By staying at home to protect each other.
Our doctors, our nurses, our medical workers,
Our security services
and other essential service providers
have taken the charge to keep us safe. But we can play our part
by washing our hands with soap and water,
coughing inside our elbows. Avoid touching your face. Stay 6 feet apart from each other whenever you're in public.
And most importantly, stay home.
We're all in this fight,
united and strong.
Some of us might be alone,
but know that we are all connected. And we'll emerge from this even stronger.
Jamaica, stay connected, stay home, and stay safe.
Hi, this is Todd Davis from Jamaica Smooth, here to talk about our new line of CBD products. Jamaica Smooth Mist, Jamaica Smooth Balm, Jamaica Smooth Caps, Jamaica Smooth Nightcaps for nighttime, and we have Jamaica Smooth Oil. Call us today with your questions, 1-800-526-1876. These are all new cannabis-based products made from hemp. All legal, all natural, all the time. Learn about our products on our website, jamaicasmooth.com, 1-800-526-1876. Talk to you soon.
Mother.
Mom.
Mommy. There are 1,000 ways to say it. Say it over a call with love. Send mom a top-up or plan of $15 or more, and you could be one of 1,000 lucky winners to receive a $30 gift card to treat your mom. Visit digicelltopup.com, the Digicel Top-Up app, or a local store to send your mom top-up. Then give her a call. Promotion ends May 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Official rules at digicelltopup.com.
Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica, now it's time to stand together, and now it's time to support our frontline workers. Buying a t-shirt or baseball cap from vpreggae.com, support our doctors, nurses, and first aid responders in getting that personal protective equipment they need when dealing with this pandemic. COVID-19, do your part and support the cause. Support Telethon Jamaica. Together we stand. www.vpreggae.com. www.jatogetherwestand.
Irie Jam.
Oh, I can hear the trumpet sound. Moving forward with the cockpit country's warrior, Erwin Clear. Say the world is spinning around. Everything is upside down. They show no love to the people. Yes, no man in the cockpit country. Why, bless.
Indeed. Welcome back to Moving Forward. Heard here every Wednesday from 7 to 9. I'm your host, Erwin Clare. Thanks for staying with us. The earth and the world is indeed in a crisis. And of course, a crisis of proportions never seen by us before. And lives are lost, vacancies in our communities. Many people have also defeated COVID and are back. Some people are still suffering. Families are mourning. So we lift our hearts out to them and we extend our condolences. We still have persons in our community who continue to give and continue to support community initiatives. I have one such on line with me right now, and I want to welcome her to Moving Forward. We welcome Miss Joanne Squillace from the firm of Drummond and Squillace. Good evening, Joanne.
Good evening, Erwin, and good evening to all your listeners, and thank you so much for having me this evening. I too echo your sentiments, and for you and your family, your listeners and their families, hope that everyone is staying well, staying safe, and staying strong in this tough time.
Without a doubt, and we wish you all the best to you and your family as well.
Thank you.
You know, these are trying times, of course. You know, I spoke with Stephen last week, and I was talking to him, and I have him just this week rather, just to remind folks that although we have this pandemic and people are sheltered in at home and stuff, and they should not feel that they still do not have their legal rights. If they have challenges, they should still pursue them, and that is something that we try to share with our community. But even from your professional perspective, entities like yourselves still find ways to, I wouldn't want to say give back to the community, but to support community initiatives. Talk to us about that, Joan, and why that is so important to your organization.
Yes, well, it's extremely important because when people give back and organizations give back, first of all, there's a selfish reason because it makes someone feel good. And in these trying times, doing even a simple favor for a neighbor can make you feel good and distract you from really the seriousness and the gravity of what's going on, to have a moment of happiness, a moment of joy, even if it's, getting groceries for a neighbor. And to remember that they can do little things, and and those who are in position can do big things. And we at Drummond and Schoolachie, as you know, and Team Jamaica Bickle knows, are dedicated and committed to giving back to our community where we're located, our community where we live, our communities from the countries that we come from. As you know, Stephen is Jamaican. I'm Jamaican in spirit and in heart. But
No. You're Jamaican. You're Jamaican via loving Oxtail. Loving
Thank you.
Oxtail.
Yes.
All right,
Aki and Sawfish and Oxtail for sure.
All right, okay.
But I say often that Italians and Jamaicans are very similar because we're hardworking, dedicated people. An Italian, just like a Jamaican, will hold down 10 jobs to provide for their family. So we're very similar culturally that way. And whenever we can extend ourselves, and it doesn't have to necessarily be by money, but those who can give money, please give. And if you don't know where to turn to Mr. Clare, turn to Team Jamaica Bickle, because they too, during this pandemic, are doing what they can to help others. And so we're glad that we could donate to Team Jamaica Bickle to help you and Team Jamaica Bickle help those Jamaican students who, during this crisis, are stranded outside of their country, away from their families, and are scared too, just like all of us here, where this is our home. There are those students who are here and other places abroad. So if you don't know where else to turn, call into the station, call in and ask where can they donate to Team Jamaica Bickle, just as we recently did. And we're proud to give back to the community in any way we can, whether it's monetary donation, pro bono legal services, or otherwise. And there are ways that everyone could take the time to give back, and it'll make you feel good and have a moment of joy in this hard time.
Without a doubt. And of course, you guys are still on the job, so people listening right now need great representation. Give us a number.
Yes, 718-298-5050. And we are open during the stay-at-home, but we're open servicing clients virtually via the phone and, representing people. Cases still go on in other jurisdictions here, also in New York, but also outside of New York, despite the crisis and the pandemic. So don't sleep on your legal rights. If you have a legal issue, if you have a legal crisis, you need representation. Don't sleep on your rights thinking that because there's a crisis going on, that time is extended for you to act on your action or to get representation. So please feel free to call us 718-298-5050.
All right, and on behalf of Team Jamaica Bickle, by extension our community, we thank you always for your contributions and your support. And please stay safe, Joanne.
Thank you so much, and have a good evening, everyone.
All right, all the best. Joanne Schoolachie from the firm of Drummond and Schoolachie, they're talking to us. They made a contribution to Team Jamaica Bickle. Team Jamaica Bickle, we're not necessarily actively doing an aggressive fundraising because of the circumstances, but we also too are taking care of some kids here, some students who are in college, on track scholarships. We're trying to help them as much as possible. We do it in a kind of a soft approach because we understand the challenges of the community. I have another guest online who is hard at work, always 24/7, and if there are 370 days in the year, she would know because she worked it. She is the executive director of the American Friends for the University of West Indies, Miss Anne-Marie Grant, and they too are involved in galvanizing and sourcing and fundraising for our students in the university system who are now challenged, especially now that they have to do long-distance learning, and many may not have the necessary equipment to do so. Welcome, Anne-Marie Grant.
Good evening, Mr. Clare, and good evening to your listeners. Wishing everybody good health, safety, and wellness.
Great, and we trust that you and your family are well.
Thank you for asking, and wishing you and yours the same, and the entire Irie Jam team.
Great, great, great. No, of course, UA is always centered to our heart because it is our Ivy League institution that produces our students and to greatness. And many students prior to COVID had challenges. So with COVID, the challenges exponentially has increased. And now with the long distance learning and staying at home to do your work and all that kind of jive, it has just created a new challenge. Of course, challenges is what we're all about. Share with us what it is that Afue is doing right now to offset some of those situations that our students now face.
Well, Erwin, thank you again for this opportunity just to share. As you correctly mentioned, the students in the Caribbean, based on government regulations in order to deal and manage effectively with the COVID pandemic, have instructed that all public educational institutions be closed. All schools, high school, colleges, everything, universities, etc. So the University of the West Indies, being the longest standing university in the English-speaking Caribbean, and of course, as you say, our Ivy League, ranking in the top 4% of best universities in the world, is also closed. There's no physical activity on all our campuses, or 5 campuses across the region, spread out in the 17 countries of the English-speaking Caribbean. All classes are now online, and over a 4-week period, the university, 3 to 4 week period, the university moved the entire 800 plus courses to online delivery. Now, as you know, and many of our brothers and sisters from the Caribbean know, that not everybody at home, whether it be from Jamaica, Barbados, St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, wherever, not everybody has a computer at home or a laptop or even a smartphone. And so many of the students now have a serious challenge. They cannot reliably access online classes. And for us here at the foundation, that is AFUWI in New York, we're very, very concerned about the final year students who cannot access online classes, and more importantly, many of them are not, because they don't have these items at home, are not going to be able to do exams. And so in association with the alums here in the States, that is Alumni Association of New York, of Washington, D.C., and Florida, we have joined forces with the Alumni Association of Jamaica, and we're trying to raise funds to see if we can purchase devices which will be loaned to students for the purposes of classes and exams, and after which they will be retrieved and lent to the next generation of students. So we have a campaign on, it's a 4-week campaign. We started on April 20th. It ends on May 20th. And we do have a platform asking people to donate $10 or any amount that they ask you, that you can afford. But we're asking for a $10 donation so that we can acquire. No, we're not going to be able to acquire one for every child or every person or every student that needs, but we certainly will be able to try and alleviate the need.
Right. So basically, your appeal to the community is to make a donation, and how do they make that donation?
So we have 3 platforms, because people are busy, and we appreciate. And Erwin, the other thing I want to say is that we recognize, certainly the foundation, the American Foundation for the University of the West Indies, along with the Alumni Association, recognizes that the diaspora here has challenges and crises ourselves, because COVID pandemic is not only one place, it is global. And we here in the diaspora, we are supporting several other charitable organizations. The speaker before just mentioned one that is near and dear to my heart, Team Jamaica Bickle. And so we are asked to support many other things. And so we have 3 opportunities for people to donate. One, they could log on to the website of afuwi.org. That's www.a as in American, F as in Foundation, U for University, W for West, I for Indies.org. That's www.afuwi.org. We do also have a GoFundMe campaign, and the name of the campaign is Laptops and Tablets for Students at Home. So once you log on to GoFundMe from any internet or any program that you are using, you could just look up GoFundMe, Laptops and Tablets for Students at Home. And we also have a text to pledge, so people can make a donation straight from their phone. And the number to dial for that is 864-402-8943. That's no talk fast, so let me repeat that. If you dial 864-402-8943 and your text word is donate, I've come to America and learned that it is uppercase. When I was growing up in Jamaica, we call it capital letter. But anyway, donate is in capital letters.
Yes.
You can use your phone to make a donation, text to pledge. And again, we appreciate any contribution that can be made towards this particular cause. And we are going to be very pleased at the end of the campaign to report to our diaspora donors how much money was raised and how these laptops and tablets were deployed.
Okay. Anne-Marie Grant, again, we want to thank you very much for your continued work on behalf of our students, those who are challenged and seeking higher education in the university system, for your work, and hope that you remain safe and tana your yard, as they said, and take care of yourself, because you continue to provide fantastic work for our communities, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. We're all in this thing together. Again, a wonderful, I think it's Wednesday. Good evening to your listeners.
All right.
And thank you so much for supporting education, because it is a pathway for progress for our people. Thank you.
Right. And also prosperity. Anyway,
prosperity, yes.
All right. Anyway, ladies
good evening,
and gentlemen,
Mr. Clare, and good evening to all your listeners. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Anne-Marie Grant of American Friends for the University of West Indies there. Make sure you make your support, ladies and gentlemen. As we head to the top of the hour, just to remind you that a subject that is very dear to me, and we may not have covered it in the detail we normally would in the past, and that is the fight for the cockpit country. It's still in my heart. It is still something that we are aggressively pursuing. The cockpit country must be void of bauxite mining, no more than ever, especially with this COVID-19 and its impact. It demonstrates how important our environment is to us if we are to have sustainable economy. We see the fragility of some of the industries that we depend on, but a country that can feed itself is a country that is a superior country. We have the opportunity. So again, no mining in the cockpit country. We stand by that. And as I say that, I say a special good evening to Miss Jackie Benz, one of the cockpit country warriors, and to Sophia Newman, to Carol Barnett, and to all those who are part of the cockpit country warrior group. Keep the fight on, keep the fight on, because the best yellow yam, our water supplies, the fauna, the flowers, the whole idea that the cockpit country represents our Amazon, it's our lungs. And after all, 40% of the water for Western Jamaica, so critical in these times. Well, we're just about at the top of the hour. When we come back in the second hour, we have continued information for you. We hope to be speaking with Dr. Howard Bradnock, and we're going to journey down to Jamaica again, hopefully to link up with Mr. Ralston Hyman so he can discuss with us what this care package is all about and how it was managed by government and why our people were so exposed, as we've seen in the pictures. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue the dialogue. Stay tuned.
Jamaicans say no mining in the cockpit country. Go home, Naranda, go home.
You don't smell water run round me. The water run from in the cockpit.
So me now call my name. Cause me now look no fame. When the Jamaican people start to fall for blame. Politician are flame, what is your aim? No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. Jamaican people stand up. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. I just stand by. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. We ecosystem. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. Imagine, this is more than tragic. How can you destroy something so beautiful, precious and historic? Them not check the logic. No, this is classic. The earth in the mountain is like magic. It will look quick if you're sick. You know, see them politicians, yeah, need some lick. In a king's hospital, this dead on a brick. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. Jamaica people stand up.
Have you been injured on a construction site? If so, call Gregory Spector and Associates, 888-797-7735. The law office of Gregory Spector and Associates has recovered millions for construction, ladder, and scaffold accidents. If you've suffered a serious injury, you need serious injury attorneys. Let's get the money you deserve. Call Gregory Spector and Associates, your serious injury attorneys, serving the Caribbean community for years. 888-797-7735.
Jamaicans say no mining in the cockpit country. Go home, Naranda, go home.
You don't smell water run round me. The water run from in the cockpit.
So me not call my name. Cause me not look no fame. When the Jamaican people start to fall for blame. Politician are flame, what is your aim? No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. Jamaican people stand up. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. I just stand pipe. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. We ecosystem. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining. Imagine, this is more than tragic. How can you destroy something so beautiful, precious, and historic? Them not check the logic. No, this is classic. The earth in the mountain is like magic. If you look quick, if you're sick, you know see them politicians, yeah, need some lick. In a king's hospital, this dead on a brick. No mining in the cockpit country, no mining.
Indeed. The voice of our people, no mining in the cockpit country. We are resolute about that. No mining in the cockpit country. Welcome back to Moving Forward. Every Wednesdays from 7 to 9. I also must remind you, our listeners, that we're on Mondays and Tuesdays 7 to 8 with Irie Talk Back, and of course, Yard Girl Abby is also part of our presentation, as well as she represents the Millennium side of our presentation right here in Irie Jam 360. Thank you again for staying with us, because we know you have choices, and for that we are obligated to provide you information of purpose, information that causes you to action. And as a Wall Street Journal headline says, uncertain times calls for trusted facts. Well, ladies and gentlemen, over 84,000 persons have now died as a result of COVID-19. The numbers are rising. The projection for August is mind-boggling. The thirst, the quest, the excitement to reopen our nation, I would love for that too. I want to get back out for real. But I am not confident. I am not certain that these uncertain times we are being fed with the right facts from those who are in our leadership. And so the concerns still exists. There are people who are still losing their lives. There are still people who are being affected by COVID-19. And as COVID-19 has transcended on our community, there are also other challenges in our community that we must not allow to have COVID-19, one would say, cover it up and forget that we had these pre-existing conditions. our community has been a community that has been challenged with several healthcare conundrums. COVID-19 didn't wipe them away. They are still there. And so in my next guest, we'll be talking about how we continue to manage our healthcare business. You know, as they say in Jamaica, you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, obesity, heartburn, you have heart problems. Those things still existing, and we need to manage them. So we welcome now to Moving Forward. I haven't spoken to him in quite a while. I was happy to re-engage with him today. He went to a very good school in Jamaica, so he was a good boy. He went to Arden, and make himself into a big man now. And he calls himself a local physician and a specialist in gastroenterology. He avails himself to work on many healthcare missions to Jamaica and elsewhere. So he's a hard-working gentleman in our community, but finds time to give up his time to many philanthropic healthcare missions and otherwise. And I call him Dr. B. So, Dr. Howie Brodnock, welcome to Moving Forward, sir.
Hey, Erwin. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Great. I am fine. And how are you and the family?
We're good. We're good. We're moving along. We have gotten this far, and we're doing well. And with God's grace and God's help, we will continue through this journey.
Yes, indeed. You heard my comments about pre-existing conditions in our community that were already at high levels, and with COVID-19 has put it to another level. And the preoccupation of COVID-19 in some situations have caused people to relax on their challenges. And we find people, and for whatever the fear factor with COVID-19 not going in, we find people now sometimes going in too late. So I wanted you to share with us the importance, sir, of continuing to manage our healthcare business.
Well, Irvin, you have a good point. Our community has had a tremendous blow. A lot of our members of our community, as they have now come to recognize, are part of the front line at all times. So we were exposed. So the psychological injury to our community is great. However, we must remember that before COVID, there were other illnesses and conditions we had. And due to some of these conditions, made us more vulnerable to COVID. And so in this time, we need not forget and focus only on COVID, because that is setting ourselves up for even more disaster. I think what we have to look at is we must continue our screenings. And with especially obesity in our community, we need to work on that, especially being quarantined and not able to maintain our routine or getting out to get exercise. We have to try and do that, because we have now learned and we are seeing that obesity has always been a problem and remains a major problem. Diabetes, hypertension, things like those are also continue to be major worries in our community. And we should continue to follow up with our doctors for our screening studies. However, I do recognize the fact that our community, a lot of members in our community have lost our insurance because we were laid off from our job. But we should be able to, we should continue to try and seek opportunities where we can go for especially screening mammograms, pap smears, and for the gentlemen, at least prostate exams starting at age 40, because those things will come back to haunt us. Because if you take your eye off the big ball and just concentrate on COVID, other things take you out. The other thing we have to be concerned about is our elderly. And I understand the fear of not wanting to go to the doctor's office or not wanting to go to the hospital because they're concerned with infections with COVID-19. But there's other ways now that has come available, and something called telemed, where our elderly can call their physician and have them set up a visual appointment. And although you cannot do a physical examination per se, you can definitely speak to your doctor, and your doctor will speak to you. And in medicine, one of the most important things is gathering information to help with diagnoses.
Right.
And that we can do even through the telemed. So we should not be that fearful to the point where we don't seek intervention, or at least speak to our physician to get guidance how we should proceed and when we have symptoms at home.
Right, right. You mentioned something as it relates to, and that's another factor too, that you know the whole idea of persons who would now be laid off and lost their jobs, that their health care would also be challenged, and how they go about continuing. That is a challenge, especially in these times. Wouldn't you say, Doc?
Yes, it is. It really is a challenge. I tell you, one of the things I've learned from watching this pandemic, is the realization that so many of our people insurance is linked to their job. And when they lose their jobs, or they get furloughed, or they get laid off, there's X amount of period when they can have insurance.
Correct.
But then comes the dreaded COBRA, which most of us cannot afford. And so this morning I was watching the mayor, and he was talking about calling 311 to find opportunities where you can be able to try and at least seek out and get some medical assistance in these times when you have lost your insurance.
It is bring back to the whole situation about universal health care, that in a country so rich and so first world as this nation, that we be haggling at this point. We've seen what the government has done with Obamacare. May not have all the solutions, but we have yet to see an alternative. And I think when you look at some of the casualties that come from COVID, probably a lot more casualty will come from COVID than COVID itself, because the fallout is the toll is still open on the fallout.
It's very true, and I think the thought process on universal healthcare not linked to your job, is definitely going to take a relook by a lot of people after this pandemic has settled down some. Because you're looking at, they're now projecting that 25% of the working population will be out of a job. Think about that for a minute.
Yes. And these
Just
are
think
people
about that for a minute.
and these are people who would have had a job with contingent family members benefiting from their coverages.
That is correct. So remember now, most of these jobs, the insurance doesn't just cover the individual who is working. That individual usually buys a family plan that covers 3 persons or 4 persons.
Yes. Let me ask you, before with the time we have left, we see the disparity in the mortality rate where people of color are affected more so, dying more than others in this COVID. Bring it home from a Caribbean perspective, and your analysis as to where we are in those numbers and why this would be so.
From looking at it, I don't think it's only because of the other medical conditions that they have. I think one of the major factors, in my opinion, is the jobs we do. We are the bus drivers. We're the ones in the hospitals. We're the ones who are in the stores. We're the ones who in the supermarkets. We are frontline all the time. And yes, I'm not saying that other conditions did not contribute. I really do think, but I think once you got, the key is why do we have so much infection is because of what we do, where we are, how we're exposed, and then it is now compounded with the other conditions associated with it that cause us, I think, to have such high mortality rates.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, I think that is the major factor. I think it is. Although some statistics came out today showing that healthcare workers still were infected at lower rates than the general population, but I think the nature of the jobs of the people from our community put us at a much more increased risk.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Well, Doc B, again, we want to say that first of all, let folks know where your practice is on Hillside Avenue, right?
Yes, I'm a gastroenterologist practicing on Hillside Avenue.
And how do they get in contact?
Hillside Avenue.
And how do they get in contact with you?
They can call the office at 718-217-6806.
All right, that's 217-6806?
Yes.
All right. Dr. Howard Brodnock, thank you very much for all you do, sir. You know, we didn't even touch on the kind of work you do all over the world. But anyway, next time, we want to wish you and your family all the best and continue to do what you do, sir.
Erwin, continue to do what you do also, and thank you for having me.
All the best. And you went to good school too, yeah?
Yes. I didn't do a decoy de optima.
All right. And your castle and sealing it. And until we talk again, sir.
All right.
Sure. That was Dr. Howard Brodnock. He is indeed one of our local physicians, a specialist in gastroenterology, and you know, goes on many health missions all over the world, giving us his take on the whole situation of COVID. Welcome again to Moving Forward. It's now just about 8:19. It's now time for news from the Caribbean and Latin America. We go to now newsamericasnow.com and we find Felicia Prasad somewhere. Good evening, Felicia.
Very good evening to you, and a very good evening, everyone. We're starting out tonight with news from across the region as Antigua and Aruba say they will reopen their borders to inbound travelers next month. But tourists will have to undergo rapid COVID-19 testing before boarding their aircraft for entry onto the islands. The news comes as both countries have managed to somehow squash their COVID-19 curve, even as the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, and Guyana continues to see daily increases in new cases. And as Peter Serda, the regional vice president for the Americas at the International Air Transport Association, says Caribbean economies could lose $740 million and face 23,000 job cuts if borders remain closed through to the end of June. And turning now to news from the UK, where Caribbean-born star Rihanna is making history again. The singer, who has been vigilant in donating her own money and raising donations to help amid the pandemic, has now leapfrogged many UK stars to land on the country's music rich list at number 3. Rihanna, with now an estimated fortune of £406 to £4 million, is now richer than Sir Elton John, Sir Mick Jagger, and even Sir Rod Stewart. And back in Latin America, Brazil continues to record a high death rate from the coronavirus, reporting another 231 cases today to take its tally past 12,600. The number of confirmed cases there is now past 180,000, the sixth highest in the world, and the second only to the U.S. and the Western Hemisphere. Experts say the real figure may be far higher, still due to a lack of testing in that country. And finally, in the news this story, former U.S. First Lady and Princeton alum Michelle Obama is among those sending congratulations to Caribbean roots Nicholas Andre G. Johnson, the first black student in 274 years to be named valedictorian of Princeton University. Johnson, 22, was born in Gaspé, Quebec, but raised in Montreal, Canada, by a Bahamas-born father and a Jamaican roots mother. Both are doctors. Johnson majored in operations research and financial engineering and credits his family and role models and mentors with giving him the support and drive to help him achieve his dreams. This Princeton alum is so proud of you, Nick, the former FLOTUS tweeted. Congratulations on becoming valedictorian and making history. I have a feeling this is just the beginning for you, and I cannot wait to see everything you continue to achieve, Michelle Obama said. And that's the news for this week, brought to you by News America's News Network, your Caribbean and Latin American news portal. For these and more stories daily, log on to newsamericasnow.com.
Thank you very much, Felicia. And I want to touch on that tourism story. The gentleman from IATA that spoke. And one of the things that jumped out as I listened to his presentation, and the numbers are real, we understand that, and we wish Antigua the best and all those islands that are reopening. I'm curious as to where these tourists are coming from. But anyway, that being said, I think we could be entering into an era, Felicia, where, if you recall in the past, where some islands had to basically pay an airline to take visitors to their country. When you consider the challenge that these airlines are in and the marketplace that they have to serve, especially in these situations here, we could see a situation heading there, because they're already saying that the countries of the region are heavily taxed, and this is something they want governments to reduce. So I'd imagine that could be next on the table as well.
Well, it looks like that from what he was saying. He definitely said that governments need to lower that tax or at least eliminate it even. But then how are the governments supposed to be getting any money out of this? Yeah. The cruise lines are going to come back and say they want, because they don't really pay anything at all. I think what needs to happen is that we as a region and as a people, we have to start reinvesting in our own, and that means our own airlines, our own industries. We have to move beyond just this dependence on tourism. And if this is not the wake-up call, I don't know what is. So I don't know if reopening the borders, like you said, yes, that's great for, I guess, business travel. But I don't know which tourist is going to be going on a leisure vacation at this time. And that, I think, is also putting the country and the people within it at risk, because in the first instance, that's how the virus got into the region.
Imported, yes, indeed. Well, we wait to see what happens. We see the same thing in Jamaica, where hoteliers are already making an announcement about their hotels opening, but we are yet to hear government make their statement. So the horse is clearly behind the cart. But then, hey, such is it. Felicia Prasad, thank you very much for your contribution. Stay safe and be well until next week.
Thank you, Aaron. You too.
Sure. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, well, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to head down to Jamaica to have some more discussions as it relates to what is this care package all about, and why was it that government did not prepare better and allow so many people to be exposed. We understand, I mean, that folks are going to come out. So I think we had an opportunity to do better, to have better preparations, I should say. And also, too, kudos go out to our embassies and consulates here, in the United States, namely in New York and Miami. 2 repatriation flights took place today, one from New York and one from Miami, with many stranded Jamaicans. And I know it wasn't easy. There are people here who came up visiting and for whatever reason did not get home on time. And efforts on behalf of the consulates and the embassy secured JetBlue flights this morning. And I know that there's some near 4,000 or 6,000 more persons stranded. But again, government can't do everything, and so the sacrifices and the consternation will continue. But kudos to those persons who made those flights possible. We take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue the dialogue.
Irie Jam Radio. Irie Jam Radio. Irie Jam.
This is Romain Virgo reaching out to everybody around the world that's listening to Irie Jam Radio right now, especially my people in New York City who are being affected by COVID-19. Stay strong and hold the faith. Just know that we're in this together and we'll get past this together. Continue to stay safe, protect yourself and protect your family. One love.
These are unprecedented times when our courage and love for each other is tested by a global crisis. And while you have no choice but to postpone your travel plans, we understand it is the right thing to do. And we know the brighter days will return. After times of crisis, travel has always brought the world together and has allowed Jamaica to serve the world with one heart and as one people. To slow the spread of this unprecedented and challenging health pandemic, we urge you near and far to observe the many calls for social distancing. We're doing the same, and we look forward to when next we meet again. So even though we're many beating hearts, in times like these, our hearts beat as one. Jamaica, heartbeat of the world.
When financing your home, you need an expert in the mortgage field working for you. Someone who has low rates and fees. One company with one number gives it all to you. That's Canyon Mortgage. At Canyon, they specialize in one thing, giving you the best home loan at the best price for your situation. They are New York's trusted mortgage specialists. Whether you are buying a home or refinancing, and with their expertise with low rates, they excel at saving you money. So call Canyon Mortgage today at 718-792-3333. That's 718-792-3333. Specializing in one thing, and that's the best home loan at the right price with low rates. Call today before rates rise. Learn more by calling Canyon Mortgage at 718-792-3333 or visit CanyonMortgageCorp.com. That's CanyonMTGCorp.com. Canyon Mortgage Corporation, licensed by New York State Banking Department. Canyon Mortgage, call them today. Canyon Mortgage Corp, located at 204-21 Jamaica Avenue, Hollis, New York, 11423. Registered mortgage broker, New York State Department of Financial Services. All loans arranged through third-party provider. An equal housing opportunity. MLS 28873.
Every 10 years, the census counts everyone living in the States.
And that's why we must make our presence known. Complete the 2020 census.
If we complete the census, our numbers will impact how federal funding is spent in our communities each year.
For schools and health clinics.
Any information given stays safe and confidential.
It's for us.
Complete the census online, by phone, or by mail. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
Greetings. This is yours, Freddy McGregor, reminding you, check out Benash Natural Juices. We have them all blended with sea moss, or we call it Irish moss. We got moringa, spirulina, mango, strawberry, pineapple, and beetroot. Go pick them up at your favorite stores today, or you can reach out to benash.com, or you can call them on 240-472-7397. That's 240-472-7397. Benash Natural Juices. Go get the thing straight.
Mother.
Mom.
Mommy. There are 1,000 ways to say it. Say it over a call with love. Send mom a top-up or plan of $15 or more, and you could be one of 1,000 lucky winners to receive a $30 gift card to treat your mom. Visit DigicelTopUp.com, the Digicel Top-Up app, or a local store to send your mom top-up. Then give her a call. Promotion ends May 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Official rules at DigicelTopUp.com.
You ever check out the Golden Cluster on Picking Avenue in Brooklyn? The cooked food is excellent. Soups, porridge, chicken, goat, oxtail, seafood, and fish specials. You name it, they have it. And it tastes nice. Plus, them have peanut punch, Irish moss, carrot, coconut water, sorrel, magnum, and more juices and drinks. Golden Crust at 1655 Picking Avenue near Rockaway Avenue in Brooklyn. 718-342-7576. Catering and delivering services are also available. We little, but we talawa.
Attention Irie Jam listeners and New York homeowners. The COVID crisis, unfortunately, has taken its toll on our state, our families, and has altered our lives in unimaginable ways. But I promise you, everything's gonna be all right. Together, we will protect our personal health and rebuild our economic health. If you own a property in New York and you're behind on your payments, or you recently inherited a property, we're here to help. Call us at 800-544-1720. That's 800-544-1720. The Real Estate Authorities has monitored sanitary options, services, and resources at no cost to the qualified property owner. Our exclusive no red tape program helps heirs cut through the bureaucracy to sell an inherited property, in most cases under 2 weeks. We strictly adhere to best practices, and we will operate through safe telecommunications and the web. We are the real estate authorities, and together we will build stronger than ever. Speak with me, Gary, and how to learn about our program, which can best help you. Call me, 800-544-1720. 800-544-1720.
Are you a business owner or entrepreneur? Do you have questions regarding your bookkeeping or taxes? Case Williams Accounting and Consulting Services can help. We provide expert help with sales taxes, payroll services, bookkeeping, and full-service accounting, QuickBooks, and online accounting systems. Whether you're a sole proprietor, corporation, or LLC, we can assist in structuring your accounting and compliance needs, serving business owners in our community for over 20 years. For a no-obligation consultation, call us at 914-361-4500 or visit us online at casewilliams.com. Accounting for your needs. Call now, 914-361-4500.
This is a public service announcement from Irie Jam Radio.
I'm New York City Health Commissioner Dr. Oxidis Barbeau. As the city's doctor, I have an urgent plea to New Yorkers on behalf of all the healthcare professionals fighting the COVID-19 outbreak. Stay home. When you go out, you risk contracting or spreading coronavirus to others. Even if you're young and healthy, you can spread the virus to someone at risk of serious illness and even death. When you do go out for essentials like groceries or medicine, maintain a safe distance between yourselves and others. Try for 6 feet, whether it's on the sidewalk or in a checkout line at the store. I know it's not easy. We're New Yorkers and we love to be out in our city. But we have to change how we live quickly if we're going to slow the spread of the virus and stand a fighting chance to save our families and our neighbors. On behalf of everyone working day and night in our hospitals and clinics, I am asking you to do your part. Stay home to save lives.
That was a public service announcement from Irie Jam Radio.
This is Irie Jam.
93.5, the People's Program.
Things have changed. They may never be the same. A touch feels like a thing of the past. Fear is all around. A smile is now a frown. Bearing the weight of the unknown. In the moment of uncertainty.
Indeed, in the moment of uncertainty, uncertain times calls for trusted facts. Welcome back to Moving Forward. I'm your host, Erwin Clare, and thank you for staying with us as we go into our last half an hour of the program. I want to thank you for staying with us because we know you have choices, and for that we are obligated to providing you with information that causes you to action. And as they say, uncertain times calls for trusted facts. So we're going to head down to Jamaica and get some trusted facts and talk to our good friend from Power 106, economist, Mr. Ralston Hyman. Good evening, Mr. Hyman.
Good evening, Aaron.
Great. I trust you and your family are well, sir.
Yeah, man, we're good.
Great. So Ralston, yesterday we saw an image that made the social media rounds of people lining up almost miles from where they're supposed to be collecting something, and throwing out all the rules and regulations as it relates to social or physical spacing, wearing masks, probably even screaming and shouting at each other, standing in the sun. It looked like a rather uncivilized activity that was being, I won't say now, presented or orchestrated rather by our leaders. And the question begs itself, if this is a care package or a care payout, there certainly was no caring in how the whole presentation was done. Talk to us about, sir, what is this care package and how is it government is making this distribution?
Well, I mean, it's an extremely difficult situation. The images that you saw yesterday are the images that we have been seeing ever since the payout started. So when we look at the various Western Union outlets, whether it is in Pakistan, whether it is in New Kingston, that's the kind of scene that we are seeing. The people are so desperate. Some 483 persons applied for assistance on the program. 350 were 50,000 were disqualified. So what we're seeing is the remain. What they have now done is to switch the payouts now to the national stadium and the national arena. But the whole thing highlights the desperation of the people. Remember, prior to the advent of COVID-19, there was already some 541,000 persons living below the poverty line. And those that were working were people who were working at wages below the minimum wage in the tourism industry, in the BPO sector, and those sectors. So what COVID-19 is showing us is that the talk about prosperity is really an illusion, because the majority of our people, 760,000 of the 1.2 million people who were working prior to COVID-19, were working at wages at or below the minimum wage at 7,200 per week or less.
Wow. And as such, this whole payout here is some would say a pittance, but then in these challenging times, every little bit counts. But let me ask this,
yes,
though. The government had to have anticipated that, in this situation of dire need, that the potential for this to happen would take place, and especially against the backdrop of educating our people and indicating them of the importance that we're in a pandemic, and this whole activity that we're bunched up together and breathing in each other's face and screaming at each other, that can only spell challenges for the wider community. So why is it that we did not put our best minds to figure this thing out, how we could distribute this to reduce this type of exposure?
Well, the government has rejected every assistance that it can get from anybody, and that is what is taking place. They have decided to do this, to go it alone. So what we get is a kind of government by dictate. The Prime Minister comes and say, this is what is going to happen tomorrow, this is what is going to happen the next day. There's no consultative process. And not only with the care program, what we also see in relation to the various lockdowns and the shopping hours and shopping days, a similar situation took place with the St. Catherine episode, where the days that the people got and the times that they got to go shopping facilitated bungling and all of those things rather than social distancing. So the lack of consultation has resulted of social and physical distancing. Similarly, when the crisis first broke,
lost Ralston. Oh yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, we lost it there for a while.
Okay, let's back up. When the crisis started in March, when our first case on March 10, the budget was being prepared at that time. We told the minister that he should have expanded the budget to take into account the whole impact of COVID. And he said, well, no, we have a little contingency and that will deal with the situation. So they set aside $7 billion. Then they did the budget and they removed the asset tax from the banking sector. The banking sector gave it back to them $3 billion and said, oh, this is our contribution. So they moved to $10.65 billion. Today, now we hear he's preparing a supplementary estimate, and that figure, another $7 billion, has now been added to that figure. So they have not been listening to anybody else except themselves, and that is part of the big problem that we are experiencing.
We saw where money is allocated to the Ministry of Health. Of course, that would be the ministry now that probably is getting the largest allocation as a result of the pandemic, that they were now they were on down to the last 300 million. That was a week or so ago. I gather in this supplemental they would have gotten replenishment of funds. Good. The question I ask now, Ralston, is that yes, we have a pandemic, and we need to work to move with alacrity and urgency with getting things done and getting contracts and all that. Is there what is the oversight of these massive amount of monies that is now being spent to facilitate
the Auditor General is doing the audit. That process is expected to commence sometime next week. So yes, the Auditor General is providing oversight on this thing, because the Auditor General has to be consulted, because based on the fiscal responsibility law, because one thing that is also going to happen is that the legislation to reduce the debt to GDP ratio to 60%, that has to be amended in light of the pandemic. So what we're seeing now is that that has now moved up to fiscal year 27-28 rather than 25-26. So the Auditor General has to be brought into the process to audit why this is necessary and all of that.
Right. As it relates to our inline for IMF intervention, where are we with that?
Well, the IMF just said they're having a press conference on Tuesday to see what is it that the executive board is saying about that. More than likely it is going to be approved, so we expect to hear something about that on Tuesday. But the problem, though, one thing that the minister built into the supplementary estimate today again is that the mismanagement of the exchange rate is going to cost the country $8 billion in additional interest charges. Because what we have been saying to the minister, most of our supplies, money from tourism, 1.5 billion net, the remittance flows, 2 billion net, the BPO flows, which comes out at about 460 million net. Those things are not going to come back for now. So we were saying to the minister and the governor of the Bank of Jamaica that the current exchange rate regime, where the market is dominated by a few middlemen, cannot continue. What we need to be doing is to ensure that the members of the productive sector, a window is open for them at the Bank of Jamaica so that they can get adequate foreign exchange to buy capital goods, paper, raw materials, fuel, etc., etc., in order to keep the process of economic growth going. But what they have been doing is to continue with this nonsense about the market allocating foreign exchange. Right. And that market is about only three big players. So what we're seeing is consistent depreciations in the exchange rate, despite the fact that the producers and earners of foreign exchange cannot get any money to do their business. So today we closed at $147.13, and the minister is telling us that 8 million now will have to be allocated for the additional interest charges, because 62% of our debt is denominated in United States dollars. This kind of mismanagement is costing the country, because that money could be used for something else.
Right. Let me ask. Recently, of course, there were situations where you're being paid to buy oil. Did we benefit from that at all? The price of oil went down? Recently, and I say that.
Not. In fact, tomorrow gasoline prices will be going up.
So we did not what? We were waiting for it to go lower?
No, what is happening is that the minister, there's this formula that Petroleum has, where they say that finished goods, they use Gulf reference prices, but in terms of the price of crude, they use the British benchmark North Sea blend as a standard rather than the American benchmark West Texas intermediate cushion. And then they have this fictitious thing that they put in, which resulted in prices going up rather than coming down. In fact, when US oil prices fell to zero, the minister added 41 US dollars per barrel to oil.
Wow.
Minister of Energy.
Interesting. Well, I gather the whole prospect of prosperity is now clearly becoming an illusion. Ross and Hyman.
Yeah, the economy is expected to decline by 5% this year.
Well, the unfortunate mishaps and that our leaders continue to do. Next time we talk, we need to talk about the committee that's been put together to reopen the country and how that is going. But again, thank you very much for being with us here on Irie Jam moving forward this evening.
Yeah, man, pleasure. Okay.
All right. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to Moving Forward right here on Irie Jam 360. Our last segment. Headline, one of the headlines in today's newspaper says, Diaspora Education Fundraising Flop. It says here that this entity was launched with much fanfare in October 2016 with the goal of raising some $2 million to assist schools in Jamaica, as well as to promote professional development. The Pledge to Build School project in Jamaica. 4 years later, the organizers reported raising $5,500. And let me repeat, $5,500. The initiative was pioneered by the Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force, headed by Mr. Leo Gillen, in partnership with the Union of Jamaican Alumni Association. We have online with us now the person who wrote the article, my partner on Fact of the Matter on a Sunday evening, Mr. Lester Hines. Good evening, Lester.
Good evening, Erwin. Good evening, listeners. Thanks for having me on.
Great, great. I recall this endeavor launched with significant fanfare and, heralded as a good idea at the time. The relationship with the Ministry of Education, various foundations in Jamaica. And then it just got off the radar. We read your article today, and I just prefaced for the listenership what this is all about. What was the main concern here, Lester?
Okay, the main concern was that there was no transparency in terms of it. Nobody knew what had happened in terms of the money raised, and so I spoke with the Gleaner about it, and they said to me, please investigate the story and see what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I started asking questions. As a matter of fact, last year I'd asked a question about it, and I did not.
We did have Mr. Leo Gillens on our program probably a year and a couple of months ago on this very subject, and I know the conversation was not one that he was happy with. But the point here is this is not a situation, and clarify for myself and our listeners, this is not a situation where funds were, won't say, rerouted or misused, or funds were missing. The fact that they set themselves a lofty target, which was never met, correct?
Right. And what happened was that they set the target. They had the announcement. It was done with everybody, and people felt it was a good initiative. They to come back to what you just said. When the initiative was launched, one of the questions that was raised was, would there be transparency? Would the community be told how much money was raised, what had happened to the money, how was it spent, and all of that? The bottom line is that we were told yes, that would be the situation.
And also, Lester, I think there was also a time too when there was a competition between parishes, and one could see, what was taking place there. No, right. When it was found out that the monies that was raised, 5,500, share with us how was that? How were those funds dispersed and used?
Well, those funds were I'm told that the funds that were raised were used for a conference, an educational conference in Florida. What has not been said is what specifically the funds were used for in terms of the summit in Florida, whether it was to pay for accommodation, for organizing the function, or what have you. The bottom line is that if I am not saying that they couldn't use the funds for something else, although you'd expect that it would have gone to the schools, at least one school in Jamaica. But if you're going to do that, then it's having said to the community that you are raising this money for this specific program, you should have at least come back to the community and say, this is what we raised, and because of whatever we're doing, we have decided to use the funds for this educational summit in Florida.
So you're saying that there were no official documents or official statements being made to say that at the conclusion of this project, $5,500 was used, and that the decision was taken to use it for a conference? Because we do also understand that the conference too had significant educational impact on Jamaica. But the point is that you're saying that there was no record to demonstrate that there was a decision taken to do this.
Exactly. No record at all. And nobody. One of the things that I found was I asked the chief organizer for it. I sent him an email asking him to please tell me, how much money was raised and what was it used for. And he literally washed his hands of it by saying the officers of the task force
Jamaica
had nothing
Diaspora
to do
Task
with the
Force.
fund. The Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force had nothing to do with the funds. I was to speak with the president of
of UJA.
the UJA.
But this was an initiative. But this was an initiative by the Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force.
Education Task Force. That's right.
Okay.
So one would think that there would have been some. At least some accountability from the person who was organizing it, who was front and center of it.
Well, I gather that the baton was handed off to a race that was not completed. Let me ask this. What does this say for our organization? How does this impact the integrity of our organization? Even organizations the one that I'm involved in, Team Jamaica Bickle, another organization that comes to the marketplace to raise funds to do projects. What does this say? I had earlier on Anne-Marie Grant from American Friends for the University of West Indies. They are raising funds. We see their transparency. We see what they're doing. What does it say for organizations in mass? Is this a black eye?
What it says is that it creates a problem for the community to raise funds for worthwhile projects, because by not being transparent in terms of the monies raised, why would I give you money? Why would you? If you come to me, why should I give you anything in terms of supporting any projects? Because how do I know that the monies that were collected are going to go to the projects that you said it's going to be used for? Right. And so until we start holding organizations accountable for them to be transparent, provide breakdown of funds raised, what they've done with the funds and things, we're going to continue to have a problem in the community raising funds for very worthwhile projects.
Well, I want to say that organizations such as Jamaican Alumni Association, distinguished organization. It's unfortunate that the association here is made, but I know that these are organizations with high repute, and it's unfortunate. The fact is that just because good ideas, and I've always said this, I've said this, Lester, just because you and I may come up with a good idea, sometimes we are not the best persons to execute those ideas, and we must, as leaders, recognize that and bring in those with the expertise to do so. And if we don't reach to the target, yes, we can come back and say we didn't make the target, because I work with the organization on a daily basis, and I know the challenges that are involved in fundraising and the importance of integrity. Thank you very much for your contribution, sir, and keep us apprised as to developments.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, and I will see you on Sunday night.
All right. Catch you on the Fact of the Matter, sir. And as I said, uncertain times call for trusted facts. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's coming to the end of our program. And as we reflect as a community, recognizing the challenges that we all have, we must also recognize too that in spite or despite of the pandemic, COVID-19, we should not by any means let our guards down as to ensuring that the services we provide, the confidence that people have in us, the expectations of us to deliver, those must never be challenged. We can't take a vacation from those situations. We must continue to live up to our expectations and our commitments. We are a people that are true to our words. We are a God-fearing people. Significant challenges are being faced right now. We're mourning. We have job losses, uncertainty in business. Some businesses will never come back. Many people are home right now. The expectation of a job is an expectation, is a hope. So whilst all of this is going on, our integrity must remain intact. We must still be true to ourselves and be honest. We here at Irie Jam 360, the fact of the matter, moving forward, Irie Talk Back, and all our programming, we have a responsibility to you, our community. We will make every endeavor to continue to provide these services to the best of our abilities, whether it be in our talk, our music, general information. That is our commitment to our community. And as we go through this pandemic has opened up wounds, have removed and exposed certain inefficiencies and challenges that we have, that we now must take this time to try and resolve them, to try and ensure that when we emerge from this pandemic, we are stronger, more resilient, and ready for the world. And as I close, might I remind you, please fill out your census forms. You have the opportunity, the right to self-identify. So if you come from Trinidad, you can put it in. If you come from Guyana, you can put it in. And if you come from St. Anne, Jamaica, you can put in Jamaica. When we do this, we are also ensuring that our community gets its fair share and providing our children their opportunity to succeed. So I want to thank all those who made it possible tonight. Thank you, Jordan, and all our guests. This is Erwin Clear and say good night until we meet again Sunday, when it will be the fact of the matter. And as Miss Lurwood said, walk good. Good night.
Things have changed.